Hello, my name is Scott Greer, and this is my critique of Information Systems 520, Communication for the Professional. I thought I was halfway done with my paper, and I thought, you know what, the assignment said I could do something creative. Why not build this into a mini video slash PowerPoint presentation and present it to you that way? I'm sure you've read enough papers today, and this might be a little bit easier to get through. and So I just wanted to start by telling you my feelings on the course. There's three basic feelings I have. First, it's been an enjoyable class. I've enjoyed your demeanor in the class and your openness and willing to give us some great instruction. I find the topic completely interesting, um, and in fact, it's even caused some fascinating internal thoughts that I'll go into later. But overall, I think it's a great course. I didn't know what the course was when I signed up for it, to be honest with you, and I'm very happy I've taken it because it's given me some things to think about and to continue to move forward with in becoming a better communicator, which is my overall goal in business anyway. So I thought I'd start with the three improvements, the general areas that I think you should do, and I'll go more depth to each one as we go. So I thought maybe dropping the book, creating a more logical path for the course, and making the class more interactive are the three things that I think you could do to make this a superb class, better than it is already. and um, and so let's talk about those. The first one is dropping the book. I actually like the book. I think it's a great management book. I think it's a useful tool. I got my bachelor's in management and I'm getting my master's in management, and I know we take three, I think, management courses. So I feel like we're exposed to management. What I really wish, though, was that in this class we were given more readings about communication and not management. I find when you dissect down what's an ethos and things like that reading that we got on that, those things are fascinating to me. And I really wish I could spend less time focused on critiquing a management book. And I understand that you did that to help them out. But I really think maybe a selected text that you had to put together or someone else had a textbook already done, maybe even a psychology of communication book, would be much more useful and give me more out of this class for what I'm looking for now that you've introduced me to the principle. And if nothing else, I think that your teaching has opened my eyes to a new aspect of something that I wasn't considering strong enough. And I really wish I was getting more of that in the class. So I would drop this book. I don't think that it's cohesive with the theme of the course, even though we are critiquing it for its communication value. I think it kind of muddies the water of what the potential of what the course could offer. Next part, I think that the logical path. I think there's two things that the logical path need to have created: the assignments and the lecture. What I mean about that is sometimes everything can be confusing. And I know that because as a student, I talk to other students, and as a teacher, which is what I do, I teach college. I know that sometimes I have to buckle down and focus on how can I, get this concept across better to my class. And I think with just a little tweaking, the assignments and the lectures can become much more useful to everybody, in my opinion. So let me talk about the assignments first. The first assignment that we got about the poem, I have an interesting analogy that I'd like to use. I teach Microsoft Office, is one of the things I teach, and I try to help people understand Word and PowerPoint and Excel. And something that happens in every class I teach is that we have to change colors. We learn how to format. And as I teach people this, the text that we use explains that you should go up and you should select accent 5, shade 20, darker 15, or something archaic like that and very difficult to understand. And the students get very hung up and caught up in making sure that they select accent 5, shade 20, dim 15, or whatever it happens to be. And I try to explain to them that we're not trying to learn and memorize each one of those, because all that is light blue. That they could make it orange, and the concept is being learned, that they can change the color of the text. And I feel like on that first assignment that we received about the Humpty Dumpty poem from Alice in Wonderland Through the Looking Glass, that a lot of students, I think it was confusing because it wasn't logically let out in the beginning. Like I believe the concept was brilliant once you brought it around, but I think if we had a little more input at the beginning of it, that people wouldn't. I mean, I helped 3 or 4 people try to figure out what they were going to do because they couldn't understand the simple concept of words can mean anything, and I think that was the point. And what words we choose to communicate um, is kind of telling about us, I guess, is what I got out of it. And how do we interpret what Humpty Dumpty said? So, anyway, I think that if there was a logical, methodical use of assignments to bring us through the concept and the psychology of communication. And once again, I understand that I think it's the first time you said you're teaching this course, and I know how hard it is to put a course together, but you asked for the input. Um, I think it would be 10 times more useful with just that little thought being put into it, I guess is the word. And I don't have the answer because I haven't been all the way through the course. But as the master of this principle, I'm sure that you're the one that can come up with that. I did want to talk about briefly, though, the assignment that we had to do about the 5 stories. And I have to tell you that honestly, I've never in my collegiate career been challenged to look internally at myself and think about something as, why do I do this? I took this assignment very seriously, and it did rock me to my core, and I don't know why in particular. I know that I went into a denial state literally for a week where I didn't want to think about it. And every time I would talk to somebody and I'd bring up a story, I would shut down and I would stop talking as quickly as possible because I didn't want to think why I was bringing up that story. It was very fascinating and introspective look into myself and my own psyche. And I wanted to say thank you because I honestly cannot remember another assignment that did so much for me mentally and internally and psychologically from a simple assignment of what are the 5 stories you share and what are you trying to convey from it. I know it sounds simple, but it really was an effective one for me, and I felt like not only did I learn, but it made me better, and it made me better in a way that I had to almost confront, I don't want to say demons, but confront something internally that I didn't want to confront. And you forced me to do that. I had to write it out, I had to logically prepare it, and I had to articulate it. And anyway, I just want to say thank you. I thought that was a great assignment, and even though it was hard for me, I feel like it's something that's helped me to learn, and I'm grateful for that. Um, so yeah, I think that the assignments are great. I just wish they were in a more logical path. As far as the lecture, I know a lot of times we can get shot, just like this guy did in the comic, as teachers for what we have up on our PowerPoints. And and so I don't mean to make light of it, but I feel like sometimes it's been difficult to follow, like I said, because we can't see the PowerPoint online all the time. And I feel like I almost wish you could come take your course from our perspective for a night. So you could see, because I really enjoy the UND model, but one of the things that it is prone to is having problems with audio. And the PowerPoints really help, especially when you're invoking new words, like I would say ethos. If you were to talk about ethos and then ethos came up on the screen, it's really easy to put those 2 things together. And you don't have a bad dialect. Some teachers have a really strong dialect, and so it gets really